Thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for joining on your lunch break. I really appreciate your time. I have a lot of information to cover in a relatively short amount of time, so I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen and walk you through some slides. I'll also show you a little bit of a demo with our program, and hopefully we'll have time for questions at the end. The CyberPatriot program is what you're learning about today. Just a real quick background on me. As Mark said, my name is Dalton. I'm Director of Program Engagement for CyberPatriot. We are based out of Arlington, Virginia, but it's an online program, so schools anywhere in the country, even international schools, can participate. I've been with the program for over 8 years now. I've had a lot of different roles, and I've seen the program grow quite a bit from one program to the 6 programs that we'll cover today. So let's go ahead and get started. The CyberPatriot is part of the Air Force Association. They're the parent organization that created the program. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. Their big focus is 1, supporting the Air Force, but 2, supporting strong national security policies. So the reason that CyberPatriot came to be is because we're trying to motivate students towards STEM education. The lack of students pursuing STEM education and careers, in our opinion, is a national security concern. Things to know that we are not hacker training because we're dealing with a younger audience, mainly middle school and high school students. We don't encourage any offensive behavior. Students at that age just don't really understand the full consequences of trying to hack into something, so we don't even touch on the subject. We also are not a recruiting tool for the military or government. I think parents get concerned when they see, oh, Air Force or Air Force Association, you're trying to get my kid to join the military. Not true. A lot of our participants do end up there just because they are interested in that, but any industry, military, government, academia, retail, airlines, whatever it may be, they need strong cybersecurity professionals. Anyone who's in cybersecurity or STEM education knows that there's a need for it. As of 2018, the U.S. students were 30th in math and 11th in science. This is obviously not where we want to be, and not many of our students are prepared for actual college level coursework in STEM majors. There's a huge need for cybersecurity experts. There's a lot of unfilled positions, and quite frankly, international students are the ones filling those roles. So we'll get into a little bit about each of these programs that you see here. Our programs cover anywhere from elementary school all the way up to senior citizens. So we'll go through them roughly in this order, essentially oldest to newest. So let's go ahead and get started. Mostly with the, and these skills are I would say more for the high school, middle school levels, but technical skills, obviously, if a student's going to be in CyberPatriot, they're going to learn computer networking principles and foundational cybersecurity skills. Makes sense. But what we think is more important are the non-technical skills that they learn. These students aren't always the high school varsity quarterbacks, or they're not playing on the women's basketball team or whatever it may be. So they don't always have a chance to have leadership opportunities or teamwork opportunities. CyberPatriot provides that to them. Also, we always cover cyber ethics as the first lesson. It's important that they understand their behavior online matters, and there are major consequences that come with inappropriate behavior. Also, creative and analytical problem solving is a big part, especially of the competition, and that's something that employers are always looking for when they're looking for new hires. So we'll start off with our National Youth Cyber Defense Competition. This is how the program began. This is where it's got its start, and it's our largest program that we offer to date. It's for grades 6 through 12, or anything that you would define as high school and middle school. But it's basically a competition where teams of students find and fix cybersecurity flaws in virtual operating systems. The coach registers a team, and they add students to the roster. I'll go into who can be a coach and who can be a mentor. I'll go into that on the next slide. There's usually 2 to 6 students per team. They go through training that we provide. There's online modules we provide. There's also practice rounds throughout the summer months leading into early fall before the actual competition begins. And all registered coaches, mentors, and students get access to Cisco's Networking Academy, which is a huge, huge learning tool that we're really grateful that they offer to us at no charge. The competition itself is done online. There's no travel required. Every team is guaranteed at least 3 online rounds. They earn points for how well they secure this virtual operating system. And then the top teams advance, hopefully to the national finals, which is typically an in-person event. We've had to do it virtually the last 2 years because of the pandemic. We're hoping to see it in person again in 2022, but we have not decided quite yet. So the team roles explained. A coach is any adult leader, typically a teacher, parent, or some type of youth group leader, who is the one who registers the team on our website and registers the competitors to the roster. They're responsible for supervising the team safety, and they must be present during the rounds of competition. Technical mentors are volunteers. A lot of times they come from outside the school, not always, but most times. These are the tech savvy individuals who support the coach in teaching the training materials. One time we had a coach who was a music teacher win the national finals. Why? Because they had a really good network of technical mentors. So mentors register with us. Same with team assistants. They have to go through background checks. And then they get put into a database of technical mentors and team assistants that coaches can access, so that they can say, hey, I'm in this area. Can you help my team? Do you have time? So we let them communicate with each other to try to get the support that they need. Team assistants, like I said, go through the same process as technical mentors. They have to complete a background check, but they're non-technical volunteers. They help more with logistic tasks, scheduling practices, maybe ordering pizza or bringing the food for a competition round. But it's just another support system for a coach. The competition itself looks kind of a lot like a normal computer. What you're seeing there is actually an old competition round image. And basically, like I said, they're filled with cybersecurity vulnerabilities. Teams have to go in and find and fix. They earn points for making the system more secure. They lose points for changing things they shouldn't change, or maybe making some critical service malfunction. They're usually tested on Windows, Windows 10, Server 2019, Ubuntu 18 or 20, and then Debian. And as the rounds progress, the images get more and more complex and more difficult. In addition to these virtual images, the competition rounds consist of typically a Cisco quiz and a packet tracer exercise where they're configuring virtual networks. So I'm going to, and I'll share this in the chat at the end, but I'm going to switch over to a demo software. So when students sign in, they log into a virtual image during the competition. It looks something like this, and it has a README file on the desktop. This is basically the scenario for the round. It has some information about, getting signed in, getting started. There's a forensics question they have to answer, and then it gives them a competition scenario. So in this case, it says, that there's certain policies that this company offers. And then if you scroll down a little further, you see, a list of authorized administrators and users. You also see, I guess some policies up here about, password policies that the company wants to have in place. So students can use this information to think, okay, well, the first thing I should do is make sure, maybe I should check all the users and see who's on here. So we'll go to the control panel, we'll check out the user accounts, and we'll manage the accounts. Now we saw that the user accounts must be password protected. So if we, scroll through, we see, okay, they're mostly password protected, but M. Rory is not password protected. So let's change his password. So we'll create a password. Make sure they match. Oops. Oh, knew that would happen. Pressure's on with everyone watching. Okay, so now we updated the password, and hopefully doing that would earn us points. So, we see we gained points. So if we want to know how we're doing during the round, we'll go to our scoring report. That's also available on every image. And we see, okay, we've gotten 5 out of 100 possible points for this particular image. And the reason we earned 5 points is because we password protected M. Rory's account. So that's a very basic example of what the students are doing during these rounds. But obviously the goal is for them to fix as many vulnerabilities as they can and earn as many points as possible. In some rounds, they're working on 3 or 4 different operating systems in a 6-hour time frame. I'm going to switch back over here to PowerPoint. And actually, let me send the link. While I'm thinking of it, I'm going to stop sharing my screen quick. Okay, so I just sent in the chat the link to the demo software. Basically, it's a Google form that you'll fill out to request the software to download. It's a small software packet, doesn't require any internet, so you can use this demonstration really anywhere as long as it's downloaded onto your computer to show students who are interested, how they would participate, or even potential coaches, what it would look like. The timeline for the competition, we consider it to be year-round, though the bulk of it is like October through, I would say, January. You can see registration opens in April, and then we have practice rounds throughout the whole summer. So it's a good way to tell students, hey, if you're interested, you can try out this practice round and see if it's something you'd like to participate in for a full season. The actual season itself starts in October. There's round 1, round 2, and the state round are all guaranteed for every team. Then we have the semifinal competition, and that's only a small percentage of teams. And then the finals, typically in March and in person. It's really only 28 teams out of the initial field. The teams are sorted into 3 different divisions, so you're only scored against the other teams in your division. High school teams are really the general high school population of any type of school or high school aged youth group. The all service division is also a high school division, but those are reserved for students in any JROTC program, Civil Air Patrol, or Naval Sea Cadet Corps. And then additionally, middle school division, which was added a few years into the competition with a big urge from middle school teachers. Any middle school age students can participate in the middle school division. We do waive fees. You can see the fees listed in the boxes at the bottom of each division there. We do waive fees for Title I schools and all girl teams. And any all service division team, the fee is waived with an agreement that we have with their headquarters. So we try to make the fee as modest as possible, and we want any team to participate, even if finances are an issue. So we try not to turn away teams because of the registration fee. Here's a graph of our participation through the years. The program started in 2009 with 8 teams. We hit a record in 2019 with about 6,700 teams across the country. And then obviously the pandemic hit. So you can see we took a little hit there, but we are starting to grow again. Participation in our competition is about 31% female, which is higher than the national average, and for STEM programs, and 48% minority. And when people say, well, how do you know the competition's working, or is it working? We say, yep. And we know because every 2 years we do a alumni survey or participant and alumni survey where we poll current CyberPatriot competitors and past competitors as well. So of our current students, those in high school and middle school who are in CyberPatriot, 75% of them say that they plan to pursue STEM education or career after high school. Of those that have already graduated high school, 84% have gone through CyberPatriot and are actively in a STEM field, whether that's in college or in the workforce. And we say, okay, well, did you plan to do this, or did CyberPatriot have some type of impact? 85% of the respondents said that CyberPatriot did have a positive impact on their decision to pursue STEM. So we're really happy to see that. We want those numbers to keep going up. And we will be doing another survey. We do it every 2 years. So in the spring of 2022, we will be pushing out the survey again. If you're interested in getting involved in the cyber defense competition, you can obviously become a coach, mentor, or team assistant. If you can't commit that much time, you can help a local team fund fees or donate some equipment to them, or even offer a space for them to compete if they don't have one, or even just spreading the word about the competition and that it's available for any middle school and high school to participate in. And if you really want to see what happens or see the action live, assuming we have an in-person national finals, you can attend. It's free for spectators to come watch the competition. Okay, so moving on to our second biggest program, which is our Cyber Camp program. This happens during the summer, really when the competition is not as prevalent. It's basically curriculum that's packaged for host organizations to present and teach a camp on their own. Again, for grades 6 through 12. And basically any organization can sign up as a host. And then we ship off the PowerPoint presentations, the instructor guides, the student workbooks, whatever they need. So they'll go through the curriculum, review it. They have to find their own instructors and volunteers to help support the camp. They recruit and register their own students, and they have to provide their own facility, or they can host it virtually if they want to. And then the camp runs, you pick what week you want to host, but it runs Monday through Friday. It's about 4 hours of instruction per day. And then the last day, always the Friday, is reserved for a miniature competition for the students to get a feel for what it would be like to do the full scale competition. We have had pretty big success with the camps. We offer two varieties. Standard camp, we say, is for those students who are just getting interested in cybersecurity. They haven't gone through the competition. They don't have any prior knowledge. And you can see the topics we cover in a standard camp. Or we also offer an advanced camp, and that's typically for students who have gone through the competition once before or have gone through a standard camp. So we hosted over 300 camps in 2020, just over in 2020 and 2021. A lot of them, we've seen a big switch to people hosting camps virtually. Obviously, that's because of the pandemic and people are now understanding ways to do things virtually, but there's still a good chunk that are held in person as well. Engagement opportunities for cyber camps. Your organization can certainly register to host a camp. The registration for requesting to host a camp starts February 1st and typically runs through May 1st. Or you can volunteer as an instructor if you know of a camp in your area, or again, help an organization fund a camp, donate equipment, etc. So again, we're always looking for people to spread the word about our program. So if you know of a local school that would be interested in hosting, let them know it's an option. And now moving on to some of our programs for the younger audiences, we have 2 elementary school programs. The first is our cyber education initiative. These are 3 free games that parents or teachers can download right from our website. And it teaches kindergarten through 5th grade students the importance of cybersecurity, or even just what is it. Security Showdown is teaching students, about the idea of personal information. What information should you share with strangers, or what information can you share with your parents that you shouldn't share with strangers? Jeff OS introduces the idea of an operating system and file management system. It also introduces phishing and malware. And then Packet Protector, it's probably my favorite game of the 3. Students have the chance to build their own network with different parts, and then they earn cryptocurrency for how secure their network is, and then they can buy even better parts to make their network even more secure. Kind of going along with this is our education literature series. We have 2 children's books targeted to kindergarten through 5th grade readers, and they both follow stories of 2 different young students who have some interest in cybersecurity and use their knowledge to help save their town from some type of virus disaster or cyber disaster. So those are available for purchase on Amazon or bookbaby.com. You can get a paperback copy or an ebook copy. If you're interested in getting involved in either of these 2 programs, we always say, share it with your friends and family, let them know it exists. The elementary school initiative, the games, they're free, so you can do those at any time. Or you can, donate some copies of the books to local libraries or public libraries or school libraries. We actually had one person host story time with Ben and Sarah. You can see the picture. They did a really nice video during the pandemic to still try to engage with their community, the younger students. And now on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have Cyber Generations, which is a program for senior citizens. This program came to be because the former commissioner of CyberPatriot, his name is Bernie Scotch, he was out for a run one day, got a call from his 90-year-old mother that Microsoft was on the phone asking for her username and password. And he said, "Don't do it, Mom, it's a scam." came back from his run that day into the office and said, we have to make a program for senior citizens. And he's absolutely right. Senior citizens are definitely targeted when it comes to cyber scams and threats. So this is a free program that we created to help senior citizens build up the confidence and the knowledge that they need to stay protected from cyber crimes and fraud and other scams. It comes in 2 formats. You can do it as a self-paced guide. So a senior citizen could get the guide and read through it themselves, or someone could help them get the guide and walk through it with them, or it can be held as a workshop. We've piloted at a few different places, and other people have held a workshop themselves, but basically you would download the workshop resources, which includes PowerPoints and instructor guides and things like that, and you would facilitate the event at a local senior center. Obviously, with the pandemic happening and seniors being, a really vulnerable population, we halted all the workshops and we recorded online virtual recordings of the workshop. So they are now still available and they can go through the workshop online if they wish. Engagement opportunities here. You can choose to host a workshop in your area. You can become a tech caregiver, which I'm going to touch on next. But you can also, if you're able to provide space for a workshop to be hosted, that's also helpful. Or if you just have someone in your life that could use a little lesson on, even just sending a password on their phone or something, share the information with your family and share it with your loved ones. It's always important to protect those who don't necessarily know how to protect themselves. And our final program, our final program is our Tech Caregiver program. This is new as of this summer. This is a free certification program, and it allows any student or adult volunteer, we typically say ages 14 and older, basically to become equipped to teach cybersecurity skills to vulnerable populations. So this ties in very closely with the Cyber Generations program. Basically, what we're hoping for from this is that students will use it as a community service opportunity, or even college, high school, middle school, college students, or just the general population uses it as a way to give back to their community. What happens is the individual will go through a self-paced training course, and it covers topics that are very similar to those covered in the Cyber Generations program. They take an exam. It's about 40 to 45 questions. Usually takes no more than 30 minutes to complete. If they pass the exam, they're issued immediately, their certification to be a tech caregiver. From there, they're able to go out and teach what they've learned to those vulnerable populations. They're encouraged to provide a workshop if they can, or just even have one-on-one sessions with those people in need of cybersecurity. So if you're bored over the winter break, looking for something to do over the holidays, you're more than welcome to become a tech caregiver yourself, or just promote it with those people that you think would be interested. Or, if you want to take it one step further, someone who's a tech caregiver and of a place that's looking to host a workshop, put the two in touch and see what you can get going there. And wrapping up, this is our list of sponsors. The program would not be possible without the help of these companies that you see here, especially Northrop Grumman Foundation. They play a major role in providing funding and even providing volunteers to help teams and help host camps and whatnot. So that is it. I know that was a ton of information in a short amount of time, but I wanted to make sure that I was able to get through it all. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to contact us at info@uscyberpatriot.org. We have a small staff. It's only 9 of us. So you'll likely get my colleague, Alen. She's the one that manages that inbox, but you might also get me. Same with the phones. One of us are certainly able to help you over the phones.
Thank you, Rebecca. That was great. I didn't realize there were so many prongs to CyberPatriot. That's really cool. That was a great presentation.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
It's getting a bit hard to cover everything in 30-minute presentations, but we try. And if you think of any questions that you have, maybe you don't have them now, but as you go through the information, certainly reach out and let us know. We can also send, if you're looking to promote the program in your area, just send us an email. We can send some promotional items. We always have usually extra t-shirts or at least some pens or something that you can send that you can, hand out.
It's great. All right, well, thank you for your time, Rebecca. Thank you everyone for joining us.